Hello. So, I think the last video I put up was about the rotifers. Um, they're doing quite well, I suppose. I say it like that because I had all of that, which I thought was yeast to begin with, but it's not. It moves. Um, so we're guessing it's rotifers. So they are doing very well. So I didn't need to buy any rotifers in the first place. As you can see, it forms a nice veil. So there's a daily motion of it as well. That by the evening it's all sunk to the bottom, and then overnight, I guess the algae build up, and then the rotifers rise up into the water in the daytime. Quite successful. I've had a few pruning expeditions. In fact, quite a lot. I'm having to prune it every day. It's such a small tank, and the growth rates are quite strong. Um, what else have I done? Oh, I've also put in some of these here, which is quite interesting. When I put them into the water, they formed a glutinous blob. So glutinous blob is down here where this big leech is. So it is. Trying to make some room here. It's that bit there, which is now covered. I sort of rolled it around in the mulm, the detritus, to sort of give it a little bit of cover and some shade. None of them have opened yet, so that's about 2 days, maybe 3 days they've been in there. No sign of it actually becoming anything yet. I'm sort of hoping that it all kind of germinates like a ball, and then it's quite sticky. So what I had done was I had it sort of, you can just see that bit there, it's sort of lashed up onto the top area of this bit that looks like the beheaded woman with one boob. So hopefully then that would kind of grow in the stickiness on the log, but we shall see. The grasses are doing well. The HC, the couple of little bits I put down there, they are growing through lovely, so I've no worry about that growing in the substrate. The only issue is methane bubbles that come up, and then they sort of rip the turf apart, and then you have to replant everything, which is a bit of a hassle. There's the rest of the HC. It's green, it's lovely, it's doing really well. I'm very happy with it. I don't know, but like I've got this patch down here. So the idea is once it's all grown up a bit at the back, which it now has, and it's also grown up underneath the log at the back, I shall remove from the first inch and a half here any allodia and ceratophyllum, and then it would just be, or maybe just have some bits in the corner to give it some shape. But then all this will be planted with the little grass, the HC, and this other plant here, which is kind of like, I don't really know how to explain it, like a very tiny spinach leaf. And I was thinking about having a mixed lawn. I've seen lots of aquaria with just grass all together and bits like that, but where it sort of mixes together, so the grass blades grow through the HC in the gaps, and that way you get denser planting. I'm thinking that's a good idea. Anything else to say? I've seen no more Daphnia since I put them in, which was about a week ago. I'm pretty sure they got munched fairly swiftly. I do need to get a piece of sandstone to put in the tank somewhere, which will at least cover that as a problem. But I'm sort of looking at the substrate. The fact I live in a hard water area, albeit this is rain and pond water, there a little bit of dechlorinated tap water goes into the pond, but not a lot. So for the moment, I'm not worried. The detritus, the mulm at the bottom, seems to be sort of breaking down as well, and that will release calcium and other bits and pieces that the Daphnia need and require. I suppose, again, I'm sort of speaking loosely at the minute because I don't know all of this for sure, but I'm presuming the Daphnia and the rotifer are competing for algae. I've not read yet that Daphnia eat rotifers, although I had a feeling Cyclops do, and that's why the Cyclops are doing quite well. The Cyclops are also difficult to eat because they have this, well, they're difficult to eat for fish. I don't think they're difficult to eat um, for leeches because they tend to eat them head first. But on their tail, they have two little spikes. I did read the name of what this was yesterday. I can't remember. It begins with an F, I think. Like Furca or something like that. Can't remember. I'll find the page again. So yeah, so they have their natural defenses. There are Cyclops you can buy that don't have those. And I was wondering about maybe sort of trying to find some people with different Cyclopses. Somewhere I got a green egged Cyclops that was swimming around in here, but I don't think he came from here, but I don't know how he's got into there. I don't know where he went. I sort of slopped some water in, not thinking, and he's gone into either that one or that one. Don't know, but I've not seen him since. So yes, the algae mix is sort of good. It's not perhaps as dark as I thought it might be. I top this up daily with a bit of water and put it under the sun. I think it should last quite a long time, to be honest. I'm not sure what the muck is in there. I don't know. I'm guessing this was originally the food for this, which, as you can see, is it's kind of green in there anyway. So there's plenty of food for the winter mammoth shrimp. And I've now put some weed. That's sort of the excess weed that I've taken out of that one. I put that into there to give them some cover and some sort of clean water and such oxygen. But I'll be totally tragically honest, I haven't seen one yet. I do have quite a lot of the eggs left remaining, which I think I'm going to leave until the summer. It's a struggle. One article says they come from Canada, which you sort of suspect to be relatively cold. Gets up to what, 20s, maybe 30s if you're really lucky. But they're suggesting that the body of water that they germinate in is at 30 degrees, and it's difficult to believe that. For the water in Canada to be 30 degrees, surely the outside air temperature is going to be somewhat hotter. So you're looking at what, 34, 35? That's a moving body of water. It just doesn't make sense. So I think the instructions are a bit faulty. So I'm not sure whether it's the opposite, whether they actually germinate, that's plants. Whether they actually develop from their eggs in colder water. There's a Cyclops. I don't know. It could be that water needs a bit more nitrate. I don't have nitrate like that just to be able to add, unfortunately, or non-fortunately. And my concern is if I put in soil, it's going to interfere either with the eggs or the shrimps, or may contain predators or like virals and bacterias and such things that might kill them. I guess I will know in good time. My other worry is if they all hatch, what am I going to do with them all? I'm going to put some in the pond outside. They should help to feed the frog, I guess, and maybe the toad as well if we find one or have one. So yeah, but after that, I don't know. There were quite a lot of eggs. There were more than 10. Right, yeah, no, can't see anything. Boo. No, nothing there. So yeah, so this. Other things. The 2 tea lights I've got, I sent a message to the chap who sent them to me, who lives in Singapore, and I said to him that the batteries he sent me were faulty, or they were half full, half charged. So when I switched them on, it's immediately gone on to the non-working settings. So like I'm pressing yellow, for example, it stays on red because I guess yellow uses more battery power, perhaps. Does go to blue though. it goes to green and goes to red. It doesn't go when you click on the W, it's not doing anything at the moment. Right, so it was like that one, and I thought they're both broken, as the other one was similar as well. And sort of thinking, people are quite highly strung. You get two lights and they don't work, and you snap and you punch your wife or your girlfriend, or you hit your kid or something, and it do happen, because you think they sent you wrong stuff and it winds you up. And we have to be very, very careful about stuff like that. I'm only at 38, just sort of calming to that. Also, I'm only at this age, maybe 5-6 years ago, calming to when I lose a thing or when I put a thing down that I can't find. I used to go into a terrible panic. Now I don't. So, age does help things like that. So anyway, the chap who sent me these. He's going to give me half the money back. To which I said I shall buy 8 more in a couple of weeks. Then I'll have the full 10 set. I'm not going to put all 10 in here. In fact, I don't think I have enough money to cover the batteries to use them. But I may have a couple for sale. It would be too expensive for me to run all of those all the time. In fact, switch that one off. So this one over here is working properly and fully. You can see I can turn the volume of the light down, brightness. It goes through all the colors. It's just off blue. I can do it like this. So that's blue, just off blue, like a violet, bright pink. You can't quite see it in this light, to be honest. Should we switch the lights off and do it properly? I've been showing these on Twitter, but the video recordings are quite bad. And Twitter makes me look, is it Twitter? No, Facebook makes me look like I have a Santa beard on all the time. My golden shiny beard. It's quite curious. Maybe some people do see me like that. Anyhow, let's turn all these lights off and I will show you. Oops. Should we show you that one there? Okay, so let's start again. Blue. Blue, just off blue. It sort of looks like a dark violet to the naked eye. That is the sort of pinky violet. And that is supposed to be a bright pink, but I guess the battery is going on that as well, so it's come up as red. And you have sort of is that teal? No, that's sapphire. Is that teal or is that aqua? I think that's aqua. Light green. Light green and dark green, there's not a lot of difference at the moment. The one I'm clicking now is meant to be a bit yellower. So these batteries were put in yesterday. And then you've got that one. Come on. That batteries are gone already. So yeah, about 6-7 hours in, if that, maybe 2 hours, they start to not do what you want them to do. But here's the thing though, if we go to W, doesn't work either at the minute. So if I go to, right, so basically it doesn't matter too much if you're using them for Aquaria, because really all you want is the red and the blue to grow algae and the green for the color of your fish. All the others are extraneous. They're not really needed. I'll switch it off and see if I can get the other ones to work again. Give it a minute to sort of reset. There we go. Maybe it will do. No, it's gone straight up to red again. See, yes, goods and bads. How to rig all 10 so that they run off the mains. That's the next thing, basically. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. The main problem, like, you'll have to drill a hole, attach the cables to the metal plating bits. So I guess you've got an earth on a live, because the metal plate at the bottom, I've got to think about this. Either way, anyway. And then you would need to seal the hole. But not only that, it's the amount of cabling that would be involved. So you're going to have 10 cables going into one and into the mains. So for a tank like this, it's not so good because I've already set it up. But if I could put them in the beginning, then I can bury the cable under the substrate and just have them sat on top of the substrate, which I think is a better idea. But I won't be doing that for this Aquaria. So these can be bought on eBay. Comes with a Diddy controller. The packs are shown to be packs of 10, but they only sell them in packs of 8. So I got two for something like $3.95, which is just very bargain, really good. So there's not a lot of complaints. It's just a shame that you can't look at that little red cauldron hole. It's just very, very annoying that you cannot. That's a lighter version. Let's see if we can get. No, it's gone darker. I don't know whether it's the fact that it doesn't have enough energy to work the light that you're selecting. If I do it around the side of the tank, or whether it's the actual transmitter receiver. I guess doing that shows it's probably all the more likely to be that it doesn't have enough energy in the 2 batteries to show that color again. Yeah, so what they're saying in Singapore is we need batteries that last a lot longer for such sized devices, 12 hours, and then you have to dig them out of the tank. It's not good for prolonged use. It's sort of like, I guess you'd use them for a fun spot test, or maybe even like putting a red one in there. What would that do? I might do that this evening, actually. That'd be quite fun. And see whether it generates, or even in there, and see whether it generates any more algae for them. Ooh, they're saying take that one out of there now. There we go. I have to remove woodlouse bridge. I have a nice selection of woodlice as well, if anybody would like to purchase woodlouse. Again, they're not for food, they are for study or for pets. A pet is still defined as something you can pet. So if you cannot stroke it, then it's not a pet. That's where on housing regulation documents, they must not use the word pet if they don't want people to keep things such as fish, which are not pets, or even invertebrates or woodlouse or poisonous spiders. They are not pets. They are not something you can readily handle or gain any kind of emotional sort of joy from, I guess. Okay, so I've got to think about where I'm going to put this now, because the one thing I don't want to do is put it on top of any eggs or any. Let's just wiggle it about a bit. I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do, and create a little vortice underneath. That should clear the water a bit. Beneath, sorry. Okay, here we go. It's going in. And then I guess we'll just leave that there. With any luck, it's a nightmare with the duckweed. So what I then do is I have this other bucket here, which is one that I can just sort of, it's got some old water in it. I just use that to clean the duckweed off. And the duckweed will be scooped out and put onto my pond. I tend to piling duckweed on top of each other because there's a lot of iron in it, and then it sort of rots where it doesn't get, it decays where it doesn't get the light, and then the Ocellus sort of skiboard it down to the pond. So when I take the duckweed off, I don't take it off the pond, I just pile it all on top of each other in one space, and that way you get this beautiful layering of duckweed that they sort of swim and filter between. Remembering everything you take from the pond, you have to put back in the pond. So if I'm removing iron from the pond, I have to put iron back in. So the best thing to do is not remove it in the first place and just pile it and stack it up. I was thinking something similar for having a like a specific area in your pond for blanket weed. That is blanket weed corner. If I put blanket weed in there to begin with, that's where the blanket weed's going to be, because the blanket weed, among everything else, is going to start, dealing with the nutrient problem immediately. I don't know how plausible that is, but blanket weed is actually still quite an essential thing in a pond's ecosystem. Very much so helps to clear up any water problems. I, in fact, have a tank, washing up bowl outside, and the top layer is just blanket weed. And then underneath, you've got this lovely cavity where the creatures seem to do very, very well. That's where I saw my biggest Ocellus. He was massive. Anyhow, that's 21 minutes. So that's about it for me. Thank you very much for joining me. I do have Ocellus for sale, which are there any Ocellus visible? There aren't. But I do also have these, which are, can you see him? There he is. Those are called snail leeches. As you can see, my snails live in here with the snail leeches quite happily. So I think we have to respect the acumen of these creatures, that they know how to farm. And they're not likely to destroy their food source totally. I think that's something that I didn't really respect. These are farming individuals, these pond critters. They farm a pond. They know how to farm a pond. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me. Peace to you. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye.